Alright, when you get to this portion of the house, you should have a ceiling floor plan over here, level 1, that looks similar to this. The only thing I'm currently missing right now is one of the bathrooms and one of the closets. And I'll go ahead and fix that really quick by just drawing the actual ceiling in using the sketch tool instead of the automatic ceiling. Zoom in so I can hit this little corner right here. Most of you should already have this portion done. You're going to need to have it completed and to have it look just like this in order to be able to place your 3D versions of the lighting system. You don't need it done in order to do the 2D version for the electrical floor plan. However, when we actually start placing the lights that will show up in the 3D rendering, you do need to have this completed so that you can actually place the houses on there. Or, I'm sorry, place the lighting objects. So your house should look similar to this one right here. Should have those lines in there. Again, with my ceiling, I use the 2x2 ACT or the acoustical tile system. You could use that if you wanted to. You could use the 2x4. And you could probably even use the drywall version, the metal stud drywall. However, when you place that, it might not show up like this with the crosshatch lines, and you might have to go into 3D view to make sure it's correct. Also, when I was placing my ceilings, I made sure that I lowered the ceilings to 7'6" for the height offset, so that they were actually below the wall, so that they weren't above it. If they're above it, it doesn't tend to work correctly. So make sure that you've done that. Next thing that we're going to do is actually create our electrical floor plan. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the level 1 floor plan. I only have a couple of the floors done in mind, and I have absolutely no furniture in mind. Yours would be a little different, and if you have furniture in yours, for example, let me place something in here really quick for you. Any piece of furniture so that I can show you. I'm going to place a desk right here in the middle. But I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this by right-clicking, go to Duplicate View, and just duplicate. When it duplicates, it's going to have everything from the first level. It doesn't have all my dimension lines, it doesn't have my square footage, but it will have my floors, it will have any fixtures, plumbing, lighting, cabinets, all that stuff, furniture is going to be in there. So go back to your level 1, rename it. You can either rename it just electrical, or you can go with level 1 electrical. It doesn't really matter as long as you know that it's the electrical floor plan. Now if you have your floors showing up like mine are, you can either click on each individual floor if it will allow you to, and you can right click on it and you can hide it in the element. So if I was to click on this floor, right click, I can go to hide in view element, and I can do this for each individual floor. But I could also hit the VG button like we did with our grids under the annotations category, and I can just scroll down under the models category, and I can disable or temporarily disable my floors for this particular view that we're using. So I'm going to go to floors, click on it, turns the visibility off, and I'm just going to hit apply and OK. Once that's done, all of my floors are gone. I don't see them anymore. And the only thing I have left in here for me, and you guys will obviously have more because you furnished your house, is a desk. So you're going to have to right click on the desk, hide in view, and again select the elements to get rid of that one. So hide in view elements, and it will disable that particular element in this view. You can go back to your level 1 and it will still all be there. So for the purposes of this, you can go ahead and start disabling all your furniture. Once you're done with that, or while you're doing that, make note of where your refrigerator is, where you have sinks and like washers and dryers, because when you go to place the outlet switches or the plug outlets for these, you need to use specific types. So first thing that I'm going to do is show you how to load up the actual lights that we're going to be using, and as well as the switches. So first thing, make sure you're under architecture, and this is for the light switch components and the outlets. This is not for the actual lights themselves. So go to component, go to load family, and then from here you're going to go to electrical, architectural, electrical power, and terminals. So we have all of the outlets and the switches that we are going to be using. It really depends. This type of switch, the dimmer switch, is one of those push button ones where you can twist it and it turns the light up or down or makes your fan go faster. A double switch is where you have two switches, one on one wall, one on another wall, and they both turn on the same light. Three-way switches, three switches that do the same thing, and then you have your single standard switch. So depending on what type of switches you want in your house, you can load up any of these. I'm going to load up all of them just to have them available. You go to your drop down menu. They are now in here. I think they're down towards the bottom. There they are, single outlet switches. I've also got one down here. There they are. There's my switches. And these up here are my outlets because I already have loaded in my outlets previously. So once you have your switches loaded in, go back to electrical, go to your architectural tab, go to electrical power, again, terminals. This time for the outlets, you can either go with your outlet duplex, GFI, range, or single. And they pretty much speak for themselves. This has three outlets in it, one outlet. This is for the stove. GFI is specifically for anything that's going to be around water, so plugs that you have in the bathroom. You may have noticed that a GFI switch or outlet at your home has a little red or black button in the middle of it, so that if something goes wrong, it can trip that switch and turn it off and disable it, and you have to push the button in the middle of it. So you usually have these around water sources, washer and dryer, bathroom, kitchen, garage, sometimes even outside on the front or the back porch. So we're going to go ahead and load up these these five. Doesn't mean we're going to use them all. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide where I want my light switches to be. So again, architecture component, and I'm going to work with the first room right here, the great room, and it might take a second because they're still loading in. Hopefully it doesn't lock up. Alright, once it's finished loading everything in, find the switch that you want to use. I'm going to say that for my main room, I'm going to use a three-way switch right here, and that this switch is going to turn on, I don't know, a light that I have right here in the middle. And I want three switches to be able to do it. But when we place switches in our house, they are always on the opposite side of the direction that the door swings open. So if the door swings open this direction, it's going to be placed over here. You don't want it to be behind the door. So I'm going to go ahead and place one of the three-way switches here, and then I'm going to place one of the other three-way switches right here, and then maybe we have one that is right here close to the two rooms. So I've got three-way switches right here. They all control one light in the middle. I'm going to place that light, but in order to place that particular light, we go to our annotate tab, we go to component, and we load family. I already have them loaded, but we're going to load them. I'm going to go through the step of loading them for you. So we're going to go down to detail item, go down to electrical, lighting, interior lighting, and can fixture section right here, can light fixture section. So when we load that up, there are two different types. It doesn't matter if you choose 8-inch or 6-inch. We're just using this right now to show that we're placing a light. So I'm going to place this light, and when I place this light, I want to keep track of the distance that I have placed this from a certain wall, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm eventually going to be placing this light as a 3D representation at some point in my level 1 ceiling plan. But for now, we're in our level 1 electrical detail plan, and so if I go to 3D view, this light is not going to actually show up. This is just for this plan. Now the next thing that we would do is place our wall plugs, or our wall sockets, and depending on which room we're in, they're going to change. So again, component, and I'm going to go to the drop down menu. From here we should have our different outlets, and I'm going to put some outlets in here, but I want to point out one that you're going to have like in your kitchen, in your washer and dryer room, and in your bathroom. So this is your GFI, or your ground fault interrupter socket or plug. And these, like I said, they have a little switch on them. They're so that they can be tripped and disabled in case something goes wrong with water in the area. So let's say that I know that my sink is here and that I've got a countertop right next to it. I'm going to plug this one in right here, and I just click and place it. That's all you have to do. This lets me know that there is a wall plug right there. Now, if I wanted to place another wall plug in here, and you usually don't, there's usually only one in the bathroom, but for example, for your other rooms, if you go to place a plug, they're usually around 6 feet to 10 feet apart. That is the standard. So you want to make sure that they're spaced at least 6 feet apart, and usually no more than 10 feet. So usually having one on certain walls will work out for you. So I've got my GFI switch there. I've got a range switch, which they call an oven range. Maybe I know that my oven is going to be right here. I'm going to place that one right there. And then for the rest of them, it all really depends. Do I want an outlet with just one single plug-in, with 3 plug-ins, or the duplex outfit where I have 2? So I have an outlet that has 2 plug-ins here. Maybe I have one on this wall right here. But again, remember, it all depends on where you have your furniture placed, because we did that first, and you kind of want to have the plugs, but you want to make sure, again, 6 to 10 feet apart on these. Now, really quick, I'm going to show you how to do the the electrical lines going from your switches to your lights, only from your switches to your lights. So we are going to go to the architecture tab. You can see that you have your line models and stuff right there. But before we do that, we want to manage. We want to go to additional settings, and we want to go to our line styles. We are going to create a new line style, and it's going to be called electrical. You're going to hit OK. Once you've done that, we're going to change the line weight to 4, or you can leave it at 1. Doesn't really matter with that one, but go ahead and change it to 4. Now then we want to use a dashed line that's 1/16, and then we're going to leave it as black, hit apply, and then OK. Once you have that done, go to the architecture tab and then go to your line models. From here, choose the line style and choose electrical. We use this as a way to show that we have electrical wiring running to our lights. Now usually electrical wires are the electrical lines are curved dotted dashed lines. So you could use this and go here and here and here and here, and just keep doing that until you get to the point. And then right click and hit cancel. So you have a thing showing that you have electrical wiring running to there. You could also just use a straight dash line, but the normal method is to do it like I have at the top. Right click cancel, so that you know that your electrical wiring is running correctly. So do all of that for your electrical floor plans. Once you have that done, the next video will show you how to place the actual lighting fixtures in the 3D view. Just keep in mind that if you are doing this and you are placing components, you could have multiple lights in one room. So if I had a light here, 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 and here, I could place those lights. So if I was in my annotate tab, I could have a light here, 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 and here. So make sure that you have electrical wiring running to all of those.